Welcome to the Cryptoteacher. And guys, you know I come back with that second video just to make you think. And as we can see, the digital economy is moving forward, and finally the Fed has already stated that we're moving forward from the old economy, we're moving forward to a digital economy. Now, those who have been with me from the beginning know that I talked about this way before the C word. Those who have my book also know. Now, guys, we know the C word was nothing but an avenue to move us over to this digital economy. But we must understand technology. Do not fall for the devil's tricks. And remember that everything is planned out by the New World Order. Enjoy the video.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy. And it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign of what's going to happen to these other workers moving forward. And I talked a little bit about retail workers.
I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years.
It's pretty clear we could almost eliminate car accidents with automation.
With each search, we train it to be better. Sometimes we type in the search and it tells us the answer before you have finished asking the question. You know, who is the president of Kazakhstan? And it'll just tell you. You don't have to go to the Kazakhstan national website to find out. Didn't used to be able to do that. A neural net is something very close to a simulation of how the brain works. It's very probabilistic, but with contextual relevance. The average person, they don't see killer robots going down the streets. They're like, what are you talking about? Man, we want to make sure we don't have killer robots going down the street. DeepMind's AI has administrator-level access to Google's servers to optimize energy usage at the data centers. However, this could be an unintentional Trojan horse. DeepMind has to have complete control of the data centers, so with a little software update, that AI could take complete control of the whole Google system, which means they can do anything. They can look at all your data, you can do anything. We're rapidly headed towards digital superintelligence that far exceeds any human. I think it's very obvious. AI doesn't have to be evil to destroy humanity. If AI has a goal and humanity just happens to be in the way, it will destroy humanity as a matter of course, without even thinking about it. No hard feelings. It's just like if we're building a road and an anthill happens to be in the way, we don't hate ants. We're just building a road. And so goodbye anthill. We have 5 years. I think digital superintelligence will happen in my lifetime. 100%. I think it's incredibly important that AI not be other. It must be us. And I could be wrong about what I'm saying. I'm certainly open to ideas if anybody can suggest a path that's better. But I think we're really going to have to either merge with AI or be left behind.
Giving computers the ability to see is a problem that we've been studying since at least the 1960s. What we want them to do is look at an image and understand it the way we do, to recognize how many objects are present, where they're located in 3D space, and what classes they each belong to. For instance, this is an elephant, this is a taxi, this is a plant, this is a human sitting on a chair, and so on. The way we do it currently is with a technique called supervised learning. We collect large data sets and manually annotate them to say what each image contains. And the computer learns from this data set how to interpret new images. The reason we need to do this is because the same underlying reality can look very different when observed from different viewpoints. For instance, if you're looking at me from the front, the light will be to my right, and if you're looking at me from behind, the light will be to my left, and so on. There are many problems with this method. One of the reasons is that it's a very time-consuming and costly process. And the second reason is that when humans label images in this way, they don't capture everything about the scene that might be of interest. For instance, relations between objects. The fact that I'm in a seated position probably implies that I'm sitting on a chair, or there's a chair underneath me. But more importantly, it doesn't appear to be the way humans or animals learn. Human infants, for instance, learn so much about the world purely through observation and interaction. This suggests that there has to be a better way of doing this. So in this paper, we propose a simple method that learns to understand scenes purely from observation. We train neural networks that take one image of a scene and predict what it looks like from a different viewpoint. Imagine, for instance, a couple of cameras looking at a scene, and we say, given the image from camera 1, can you predict the image from camera 2? The computer will sometimes have to rely on something akin to imagination to fill in the gaps, for example due to occlusion where parts of the scene may be hidden from view. One of the most interesting characteristics of our model is that we can effectively fly through the computer's mind. We can ask it to smoothly move the camera in a new scene and visually inspect how well it can predict what that scene looks like from different viewpoints. This work takes us one step closer towards computers that learn to understand scenes the way we do. And crucially, it does this without any explicit human supervision.
How are you feeling since you got home?
Since I started with the Center for Connected Care in this program, 100% of my patients are seen virtually.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, pretty amazing things have happened. Only last year, only 8% of Americans tried telehealth. This year, 22% of consumers tried the telehealth for the first time. Interestingly enough, last year, 22% of providers tried telehealth. And right now, with 80% of the doctors tried the telehealth. There was a sea change in telehealth awareness and popularity. When you look at our own visits that, as you know, and you mentioned, they jumped very dramatically, and the traction grew from up to 62,000 active providers from about 4,000 last year, we can really see readiness to look at telehealth not as a service to talk to doctor you never met around the very simple areas, but rather as a legitimate modality to connect patients with their own doctors that they can see in person and trust. Based on our dialogue with our clients and partners, we are pretty confident that that trend is never going back. That trend is here to stay, and it's going to transform the way we think about telehealth or healthcare in general. A study recently that estimated that 20% of current healthcare can easily move into telehealth. We have a fraction of percent that are doing that now. Others are even much more bullish. When you think about the role of telehealth, people mistake it to think as a simple thing like video conferencing between 2 points. It can do much more. When we talk about digital connectivity, we talk about a reality where most of our care is moving home. During the home, we can collect much more information continually from our body. We can understand it much better by using analytics in the cloud. We can think about new ways to cater for chronic illness and other situations and engage with patients and doctors in a new way that is fully integrated with existing payment methodologies from payers and employers.
Check out this image from inside Chipotle's first digital-only restaurant. This new location will open in Highland Falls, New York, just outside West Point this Saturday. There is no eat-in dining room, and customers will have to place orders online or through a delivery app ahead of time.
What I loved about Ocean Protocol is that provides a very clear and scalable and elegant way of addressing decentralized data storage, access, and manipulation. Singularity Net, we focus on the algorithm side, and there are other projects focusing on the processing power side. And you need all of these as well as you need tools living a little higher up in the stack, applying this data and processing power and algorithms to specific domains, such as in the medical area, as these two guys.
From a different perspective at Rejuve, because we are dealing with how to solve the problem of death. and then how we bring AI and blockchain into that. So at the high level, we're looking at how to halt aging, reverse aging, and create a new species. And at the lower level, we're figuring out how does AI fit in with that, and how does blockchain fit in with that.
Important, but I think it's probably secondary to the role that blockchain plays to enable decentralized control of AI. But then if we got into everything that AGI will enable, we'll be here forever, because it's basically every science fiction technology you've ever heard of. Seeing step-by-step progress toward general intelligence, but we're certainly not there yet. Now, I would say the leaders of OpenAI, who received $1 billion in funding from Microsoft recently for AGI research specifically, they've publicly said they think we can be at human-level AGI within 5 years. So I think we're in an interesting domain with our massively funded mainstream U.S. tech industry people who are even more optimistic than I am. This is a new thing for me, right? But